Very pleased to be joined by assistant coach for the basketball team, men's basketball team, Jack Murphy, who is a holdover from the previous staff, now on Coach Tommy Lloyd's staff, former coach at NAU. Coach, first of all, welcome. Thanks for joining us here in Wildcat Country. Just can you describe what the last, 6 months have been like for you in being retained by the new staff and just kind of that transition, what that period's been like?
Yeah, it's a lot of coaches use the term whirlwind, I think too much. And I think that might be too much of an understatement in this scenario. We went from having a fun season with a great group of guys, and a coaching staff that I had really gotten close with Coach Miller, Danny Peters, obviously JT being on staff, David Miller, and for that. The season ends, and normally when there's a change, it happens right after the season. And so for that time period, of March, and you're still working towards like next year's team. We had plans, we had recruited other guys and done other things. So when that change did happen, it was kind of a surprise, I think, to all of us. But fortunately for me and my family, I knew Coach Lloyd previously, and when he got the job, I was just fortunate enough to be retained by him, and he called me on his way to the airport from Spokane as he was going to get on the plane and said, "Hey, I'm coming into town," and stopped by the hotel. So went over there that night with my wife and, got to sit down and talk, and just couldn't be happier to still be a Wildcat.
Yeah, Coach, tell us about your history with Tommy Lloyd. How well did you know each other before he came to Tucson?
Yeah, it's funny. So when I was with the Denver Nuggets, Mark Workentine was our general manager, and Mark in the summertime would always kind of like do these little projects. He always felt like, it was a slower time in the NBA. It's when everyone took their vacation. I didn't have a family at the time. I was young. I was, a go-getter. I wanted to do different things. And so he gave me a project of going out and meeting with different college coaches, kind of in preparation for the season ahead. And, not just talking about their teams, but like guys in their conferences. So I remember he sent me out to Stanford. I saw Stanford practice, getting ready for like a foreign tour. I went up to Washington, spent a day with Coach Romar, went over to St. Mary's, spent a day with Kyle Smith, who was actually there as an assistant. And Tommy, I went to Gonzaga, went to Spokane and spent a day there with Tommy. And, from that time, that had to be like the summer of 2007, maybe. So from that time, like we've kept in touch. I coached against him twice when I was at Memphis, coached against him when I was at NAU, coached against him here at Arizona. So we've always had a good relationship and kind of stayed in touch. He's a people person, and, our relationship kind of grew over those years. And then never did I think all those years ago in Spokane, we'd be sitting here together at Arizona.
Well, you have a lot of players returning from last season's team as well, who I'm sure were as surprised as you were about the coaching transition. How do you think those guys who were on last season's team have handled that transition from Sean Miller to Tommy Lloyd to this point?
I think everybody handled it really well. I was really impressed with how during that week when I was the interim, which was another funny story, but no one entered the portal, other than Daniel Bacho. And I think Daniel was probably going to transfer anyway. So no one entered the portal that whole week, and they were patient and, wanted to see what happened. And they all met with Coach, and, even the guys that left, I think made the best decisions for them and their families. And I think Coach Lloyd did a great job of supporting them in that decision-making process. And the guys that have stuck around, kind of bought into the vision that Coach had for this program. And, Coach Miller did a great job here. We were really successful. Even the last 2 years, the ball bounces here or there. We could have been conference champs the year with Nico and Josh. It was really, really that thin. So it's not that we were that far off. And I think that Tommy appreciated the players that we had here already. And those guys appreciated what he was bringing with him from Gonzaga.
Before we talk about the roster situation, you had mentioned that your interim week was a funny story. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I got like 10 or 20 texts of congratulations. And I don't think people understand, like, I was fired. So I had family and friends that aren't like as in tune with basketball that were congratulating me. "Hey, this is your lifelong dream." I'm like, well, not really. But I appreciate the text. So then I had other friends saying, "I'm sorry." But it was more of, the last place I wanted to be was stuck in the middle of that. But I love this program. I love this school. And I wanted to make sure no matter who got the job, that it was, in a good place, because Coach Miller had done a great job getting it to where it was, and wanted to make sure that it was handed off in the right way.
And you can put Arizona head coach on your resume now, correct?
I don't know if I can. I know what
I think you should.
What I can't do is cash a 1 week long Arizona head coach paycheck. I didn't do that. But
touche.
I'm just glad that time's over with, and we're getting back in the routine and back in the roles that that I signed up for.
Yeah, I remember, when we went to school about the same time in the early 2000s and seeing you on the sideline working under Coach O. And so it's kind of cool that you were able to come back after your stint at NAU and really be a part of Coach Miller's staff and now staying on board. I think it's great to have that transition, obviously. I want to ask about the roster construction for next year. I think a lot of fans want to know, is this roster as it stands now pretty much what we're going to see on opening night? Or do you expect, and I know you can't say anything, do you expect a couple more players to come on board?
I think that the way college basketball is right now, it's so fluid. I mean, it can go on, into July without being fully set. You look at what Oregon's done over the years. Oregon does this every year, where they add a guy in July or August that really impacts their team. I mean, I think they got N'Faly Dante a couple of years ago. It had to be August because I saw him play in Peach Jam, and a month later he's an Oregon Duck. So, I wouldn't say that we're completely set yet, but I also wouldn't say that we have anything solid on the horizon. We're just kind of, keeping an eye out for guys making their decisions, because there's a lot of decisions being made this week in terms of the G League Combine, the NBA Combine, and, we'll kind of see what filters out of that.
Now, Coach, you and I think the whole staff were up in Glendale this past weekend at the Section 7 tournament, State Farm Stadium. How good does it feel to actually be able to see recruits in person again? How important is it for them to actually see you and the coaches' faces on the sideline?
I think both. Like, it was very exciting for us. Coach Lloyd actually was making fun of myself and TJ Benson, because he's like, who's going to try and get up there first? Because we were both so excited to get out and see games and see the guys in person and kind of get back out on the road. He goes, what's the rush? And then Sunday he was up there and he kind of got his juices flowing. So it's one of those things where it was exciting to be out there. There's a lot of great prospects out there and a lot of great coaches. It was a lot of fun to be able to see high school teams in June in our state and in that setting. Like, you walked in that building and I was kind of in awe, because like, that's where, NFL players walk in, you're there down on the floor and you're looking up, the stands are massive. It felt like a Final Four environment. So everybody that was involved in putting that on last weekend deserves a huge round of applause. And in the state of Arizona, we definitely put our best foot forward.
And Tommy Lloyd is familiar with State Farm Stadium. He was there with Gonzaga and I'm sure he reminded you of that.
He reminded me, like, that's the first thing he said Sunday morning. Yep. He got bad flashbacks. I mean, good being their first Final Four, but
coming up short. Yeah.
A little disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of guys are you and Coach Lloyd and the rest of the staff looking for at Arizona? I mean, obviously you're going to, go after a lot of the top rated players in the country and around the world, but what qualities are you looking for in a potential Arizona Wildcat?
I think first and foremost, great character, like high character guys that love the game, that want to get better, want to improve, and are good people. If you look at what they've done at Gonzaga, they've had a lot of great kids up there, high character guys. You don't really hear a lot about their guys getting in trouble off the court. They go on to have successful careers, lives, families. And I think that for the most part, we've had the same down here at Arizona. And we just want to kind of put those things together. Talented guys. We don't care as much about the rankings as we do the type of people. And the great thing about Coach Lloyd that I've learned over these last couple of months is he has a system, that they run offensively, and you just have to really recruit to that system. And we need guys that can handle the basketball, be playmakers. Not one person is going to be dominating the ball. Everybody has to move it and be able to pass it, shoot it, guard your man. So it's really exciting and fun to see that. Like, if you have a specialist, you can look at that, but we all also want like the well-rounded all-around player.
Tell us about Coach Lloyd, because we don't know, we haven't had a chance really to talk to him here on the show, and just seeing him out in public. And he seems kind of
poor SID work.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, come on. We got you and we got TJ Benson, so we're very happy to have that.
Nate has been fantastic.
He's in the room. So yeah, smart.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
Great.
But what is Coach Lloyd like? I mean, tell us about his personality and just what he's like to be around.
he's a happy, fun-loving guy, relaxed, but the relaxation can go away like in competition settings. I mean, he's very competitive, very smart, intelligent, understands the game. And these are all qualities I've known about him for years. I mean, you're not as successful as he's been if you don't understand the game and have a deep passion for the game. He's thinking about basketball all the time. He'll be the first to tell you that he has no other hobbies. You ask him what he watched on Netflix. He asks what Netflix is. So he's locked in on ball, but he can have a conversation about life. And he's been all over the world. Obviously loves traveling. It's well chronicled. I think that's what's helped him in international recruiting. So he's down to earth and he can talk about anything, but his passion for basketball certainly comes across immediately.
Based on my unofficial calculations, I believe you're the only coach on the staff who has been previously a D1 head coach. How is your role going to be different this year than it has been in previous years under Coach Miller?
Well, I think I probably had the same distinction under Coach Miller. I'm trying to think back, but I just try and be, a voice of reason at times, and then also not devil's advocate, but also, just kind of bring a different side, different perspective. I learned a lot of lessons in my time in Flagstaff, some very hard lessons, the difficult way. You win by winning, and you learn by winning, and you learn sometimes by losing. And we had some success early on and got knocked down. I felt like we picked ourselves up a little bit there at NAU. And I feel like that's a benefit to me, not only as part of the staff, but my own, as an individual within the staff in my own role. I kind of know what I liked my assistants to do and how they could help me in the communication. And I try and bring that every day, not only to Coach Lloyd now, but the previous 2 years to Coach Miller.
Coach, with McHale Center being one of the best home courts in college hoops, I don't think that could be disputed. And
I would dispute it. I would say it is the best.
The best. I was trying to be humble about it, but
we don't need we don't need to be humble here.
No, it's an event. I love, and I'm sure that my question is going to be because that was missing last season. Having all the cardboard cutouts and no fans out there. I know it's not official yet. You're going to have fans back, but hopefully you'll have fans. You'll have a chance to have a full house. How excited are you and the team for fans to hopefully be back in the stands and rock McHale again next season?
Yeah, I mean, it was so surreal, for lack of a better term, last year when we played Southern in the first game. It took 3/4 of the game to get used to not having anybody there. I guess by the end of the year we got used to it. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment having fans back. But a guy like Kerr Kriisa, Azulis Tabelis, Benedict Mathurin, like we recruited these guys, telling them what great fan base we have, what an unbelievable experience it is playing in McHale. Like, I almost feel like they're going to be in their second year at Arizona, but this is coming up on their first year at Arizona. Like, it's going to be their first Arizona experience. They didn't get the full breadth of it last year. And some programs did later on in the year. They had some places that had fans. We really didn't have that experience. And I thought the guys did a great job with it. But there's nothing better than coming into a packed house in McHale. And I just can't wait till we can open it up possibly for a red-blue game, whenever that is, late September, early October, and they get their first experience and feel the power of McHale.
Eric and I are excited to be back in the stands as well, for sure. We'll definitely get down there when we can. Last question for you, Coach. We really appreciate your time. We know how busy you are. I'm sure a lot of fans know that your father-in-law happens to be Jim Livengood, former athletic director at Arizona. How is he doing? Does he still keep up with Wildcat athletics? I mean, I'm guessing he has to, right?
Yeah, no, he's doing really well. He's the best father-in-law anyone could ask for. He's tells me every day it's a great day to be a Livengood and a Murphy. And anyone that knows him knows that's a joke, because he always used to say it's a great day to be a Wildcat. But he's doing really, really well. He's moved back here to Tucson with my mother-in-law, Linda, and they're close by to our three kids. And then my brother-in-law lives up in Phoenix with his son and wife. So they're close to the family, and he definitely keeps up with athletics, and he's just a great man. And I'm very fortunate to be part of his family, and then also the extended Wildcat family.
All right, Coach, my last question, and we asked TJ this a few weeks ago when we had him on. What are reasonable expectations for the 2021-2022 season in your mind for Arizona basketball?
I think that it's reasonable to expect us to be, top 3-4 team in the league, competing there to the end for conference title. We have to see how things shake out here to end the summer, both on our roster and other rosters. Obviously, UCLA is going to be really good. Oregon's always good. But I really like our team. I'm excited about our guys. I'm excited about the jump that a guy like Dalen Terry or Ben can make. Pella is a really exciting player. So I think that we're going to have some really good pieces when it comes to the fall and get better and better as the season goes along.
Can it be basketball season yet? I think we're counting down the days. Coach Jack Murphy, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck, and would hope to have you on the podcast here again soon.
Anytime Nate tells me. I'm just going wherever Nate tells me.
Thanks again, Coach. Appreciate that.